Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we will look at some attacks, concepts, techniques used by cyber attackers to invade their victims. These are a list of all that we will tackle. So once we get ourselves familiar with it, let's get started. From the previous text lecture, a vulnerability is any weakness identified within a system by an attacker. An exploit is any code written to invade user machines due to their known vulnerabilities. For the sake of this chapter, we will discuss this in detail later in this course when we tackle practical hacking. Now to the main lesson. Malware, short for malicious or evil software. The first we will consider is the spyware. As the name indicates, this malware is created with the idea to spy on the user, monitoring activities and tasks. A spyware does not become malicious until it steals user data. For example, when working in a company, a bank or telcos, the computer may have spyware installed to monitor or check the activities or transactions performed by the workers to improve transparency and ensure discipline at work. However, malicious spyware allows attackers to capture user information or perform dubious activities within victim machines. Important types include keylogger, adware, webcam monitors, etc. This is a complete spyware or malware that I wrote. It's written in pure Python. This script is really powerful. It allows me to pretty much do anything when it comes to spying on someone. Let's take a look at a few of these. First of all, I can check the operating system someone is using currently on their machine. I can also take a screenshot of whatever is shown on their PC screen. I am also allowed to take full control of their webcam. I can browse through your files without you even knowing about it. This upload function allows me to send you any file at all. You won't see anything, but it will be downloaded and stored on your machine. Getting access to the task manager is really crucial, and here is the important part. This keylogger function allows me to capture keyboard input and see what you are currently typing on your machine. The keylogger's ability is mostly used to steal passwords from Facebook or other social media. I can also run any command on your machine remotely. The most interesting thing is you won't even notice that a command or something is happening in your PC. There will be no display at all. So this is how a typical spyware will look like. We will build updated and more advanced ones during our practical hacking class. This introductory cybersecurity is only for appreciation's sake. Viruses. These are malicious codes written to harm individual systems. Most of the time attached to other legitimate files, viruses gain access to systems once the file or program with which it came gets opened or executed. Popular viruses include Creeper, which is the first of its kind. Number 2, I Love You, which myself have been a victim way back 2008. And the last one, Nimda, made in 2001. It's hyped as the most infectious PC virus ever made. It attacked more PCs in less than 1 hour than any other virus ever made. Worms. Highly infectious malware responsible for most of the attacks over the internet. A worm infects vintage machines and replicates itself, infecting files and other PCs connected over the same networks. Sometimes, worm payloads are so dangerous that they can change or delete files on a network or even encrypt target machines. Although most people use worms and viruses interchangeably, they are really different. We will see that soon. Examples of popular worms include the Morris worm, created by Robert Morris in 1988, and this is the first ever computer worm which was created. The second is the I Love You or the Blaster. These two worms have also gained popularity over the time ever since they were created. These are a few differences between viruses and worms. Virus will normally require the user to every time open the file or execute the program before viruses will have effect. However, for worms, worms execute themselves independent of user interaction. Worms will replicate and infect individual systems, whilst the worms will replicate and infect other systems on the same network. Viruses are usually attached to legitimate files, whereas worms can be standalone and may not require attachment to any file at all to infect any system. Oops! I hope that didn't scare you. That brings us to the next technique, ransomware. Otherwise known as cryptoviral extortion, attackers use this technique to encrypt user data and ask for payment before releasing the system. There are three protocols during this attack. 1. Attacker to victim. Here, the attacker gains access to user machines, usually through victim downloading infected program or file. The malicious code within the downloaded file executes and produces a symmetric key to the one created by the attacker when the file or program is run or opened. Now, the second one, victim to attacker. The symmetric key generated is used to encrypt the user files, and when that is done, an asymmetric ciphertext is generated and presented to the user. The original plain text or symmetric key that came with the malicious code are destroyed or zeroed, leaving no traces at all. The victim is now asked to pay money before the decryption key is released. Now the victim is asked to also send the ciphertext alongside the payment to the attacker. The last protocol, attacker to victim. The attacker uses the ciphertext sent by the victim to generate a decryption key and is sent back to the victim to unlock his or her machine. The man in the middle. This is my personal favorite. This technique is used to intercept information between two computers. Here, the attacker is able to monitor, change or break connections between the communicating devices, usually between a user and a server. The attacker grabs information from the user, alters it, and sends it back to the server. The server responds to the request and sends an information or response back to the user, but this information will be intercepted by the hacker and altered. This technique is really powerful and is mostly used to steal bank account information, fool people to pay amounts into undesired bank accounts created by the hacker. For example, a user wants to make payment for a service online using e-banking. The hacker intercepts bank accounts and details from the user and sends to the server. The server sends the payment account details and sends it to the user, but this is also intercepted by the hacker and he alters it to his own bank account details. He or she then sends it to the user who does not know of the change in the account number and proceeds with the payment. The money is then paid into the account of the hacker and the connection is terminated. This is similar to man in the mobile, only that the man in the mobile technique is applied in mobile devices such as phones, tablets, and iPads. So that's it. You've come a long way to learn about how these various attacks and techniques are carried out. Now it's time for a short exercise. So I'll see you in the next lecture.